So faded Polaroid was a concept I came up with. I was 2 in the morning, lying in my dorm, just thinking, and I'd had a lot of time over those last couple of days to reflect, and I knew I wanted to write a song. And the song I came up with was Faded Polaroid, and in my dorm at that point, slightly raised up, was a windowsill, and would have been this book. And I wrote the first line, which is "A wooden box sat upon the bureau," remembering a memory of when I found this old wooden box on my grandfather's bureau and opened it up, and inside were all these old pictures. So I knew the song needed soulful vocals. That was the most important thing. And after I'd written those lyrics, I went back with my guitar at my desk. It was this old Tanglewood, and I knew that I wanted to do something a little bit different to what I'd done before, really. I wanted it to feel very like an unanswered question that gets answered through the song. That was kind of the inspiration for the chords, which are a C add 9, then going to a G sus4. So we at the beginning we've got this really uncertain added ninth on top of a really stable chord, which is the C chord. And when you move to the sus4, you really want that suspended fourth over the G major to resolve downwards. But it doesn't, and it doesn't all the way through the song until the last chorus, where we get a C major chord going to a G major chord, and it feels so perfect. And then from there, after the G sus4, we've got a really ominous sort of chord, which is the A minor, and then from there we take it to an F add 9. So again, we're closing out the end of that sort of unsure, unstable ending to the chord progression that then loops again. See, there's no stable structural bass to sit on, because that tonic chord, the C major, has absolutely no stability because it's not a complete C major chord. And then from there, I knew as soon as I heard it that we needed to run it through an electric guitar, which I used my Gothic guitar. A bit weird, I know, but well, that's what we used. And then we ran it through a Behringer vibrato pedal to give it even more instability in the tone, because such a low rate and such a huge depth, it's really lush. There's no stable center to ever stand on at all through the entire thing. And then with the synthesizers, we do the same. We used the 1982 Formanta Fami and an old vintage Akai. So this song is about ancestry for me, and it's very personal because my great-grandmother, this song is very much an ode to her and her incredible life, and the lyrics are pretty dark in places, but also, and it's very sad. It is a very sad song, especially at the end. Peace, my dear, sleep well, don't be scared. The ending is really sad, but through the song we get a really happy sort of feeling about it all. And the lyrics are very soulful, very personal, and they make a lot of sense when you link them back to the melody and the actual sound of it through timbre. So it's a very interlinked song. So it's very carefully thought out. Even though when I actually wrote it, it wasn't carefully thought out. I just kind of did it. But looking back on it, it does. A lot of it interlinks and it makes a lot of sense musically. So I started out, I went into the studio with my pedal board, and I brought my Gothic SG. I turned on the vibrato pedal on my pedal board. I put a amp downstairs, my Marshall Origin 5C, and I mic'd it up, and I just recorded it and pretty much got it on the first take. Just sounded magical. Sounded really, really magical. No one was in the studio, it was just me at the time. Done the synths, I'd done the guitars, and I did the bass after that. I wrote a very light bass line. It's not groovy, it's not got a big groove. Come the afternoon, I showed it to Sastra, who was going to be helping me. He engineered the afternoon session. So we did drums first, and the drums were a 1970s Pearl kit. And I recorded the drums for it, and it sounded really, really good, but I wanted, like, you know, I didn't want it was really tight drums. We didn't want a big booming sound for this song. We wanted something to add energy, but not take it away from the actual soulful vocal line. The way the vocals worked was I did one main lead vocal, two side-by-sides that you can hear come in at one point, and then we have an octave vocal, we have a harmony vocal, two harmony vocal doubles, and then an extra 2 harmony vocal doubles as well on the final chorus to really bring up the energy. My favourite part of recording Faded Polaroid, it was in the mix. It was definitely the mix, because the tracking project sounded good, but as soon as we started putting compression on the drums, as soon as we started doing things to the bass guitar, that was probably my favourite moment in the mix. In tracking and production, 100% it was the bass guitar bit, especially going into the second chorus. My favourite part overall in everything, and it's "Oh, the memories, they are secondhand," and that's what's on the back of the t-shirts. I'm so proud of that lyric. Out of all of the lyrics in the whole song, I am so proud of that one lyric. For me, experimentation is really, really important in the artistic process. But by this point, when we got to Faded Polaroid, I had already been recording in this studio these sort of conditions for about 4 weeks on and off. So I knew exactly how I was going to accomplish the musical elements. It was really clear to me how this song should be produced. There was no real room for much experimentation. There was experimentation in surrounding the vocals, because there always is. There's always that question, how much flamboyancy can we add before it becomes a bit over the top, a bit pointless, why am I doing this, blah blah blah. So I think for me, when it came to doing the vocal takes, it was really important to maintain that feeling of the music being in charge. Yeah, this is truly probably the project I'm the most proud of.
Well, for Faded Polaroid, I used an actual Polaroid that I had recently used, and I put it on a purple background just to show the vividness of how things age, really. How things fade. That's really the colour that things fade. And then also I used the photo that we took in Dorset, which is also your recent, most previous album cover. Yeah. And following that, I've been able to put the two together, merge it, and I've created a beautiful masterpiece. I think with Faded Polaroid, it's very much a song of sorrow and sometimes despair. I think using that memorable image seems to bring back memories, and also shows how life can possibly be good, sometimes bad, and that's the best of it there. I think the actual image seems quite inviting because it can remind you of a previous memory, and because of that, people will listen to the song and it will create good memories for them. They'll have a good recall about it.
For Faded Polaroid, I engineered the record. I was the person behind the scenes doing all the miking, all the engineering, making sure the levels were correct, and that entailed patching things into the correct patch base, making sure the correct mics were installed, keeping Loic happy, essentially. I think we work together quite well, me and Loic. We've obviously been doing music for quite some time, and when I say we, I mean Loic's been doing quite a lot of music on his own, and I've been trying my best to keep up with him and help. So specifically for Faded Polaroid, Loic wanted a very specific sound, because he found this very, very interesting chord progression, and he wanted to capture this very specific feeling, I think, for Faded Polaroid. So he obviously had a very specific sound in mind, and due to this specific sound being in mind, I was tasked with capturing it via setting up the mics in the correct way, the actual recording aspect of it. And I think that's quite an important role, because that's the base of what he has to work on. When we initially heard the song, it was in Loic's bedroom. He was obviously just, messing about on the guitar, doing a bit of things here and there, humming a bit of tunes, like he usually does. And obviously something about today, or the day that he hummed the tune for Faded Polaroid, came up with it kind of stood out, because it had a very specific feeling to it, I think. Unlike a lot of the other songs, or a lot of the other chord progressions, this one seems to be quite well thought out. It had a very specific direction, it had a very, very specific feeling, and obviously, but working on that, we just attempted our best to capture the feeling we originally got from just messing about on the guitar. Obviously, I mean, as with recording any song, the person who's coming up with the song, so the producer, in this case Loic, will have a specific direction he wants to take the song, will have a very specific goal, vision in mind, and me being the engineer will have to try my best to capture that vision, to essentially encapsulate it via setting up the correct microphones, via capturing the correct sounds, and turn it into an actual recording. So that's one of the difficulties we face, is Loic would be having a very specific idea in mind, he would have to convey it to me, and obviously I would have to extrapolate that idea and make it into reality. For example, when we were setting up drums, Loic had a very specific idea in mind, which was John Bonham mic setup. Going off that, we had to obviously set up the mic, make sure that it was all plugged in, wired up correctly, make sure the entire setup was immaculately, and then we had to do multiple takes to get just the right sound that he wanted. And this is a very, very arduous process. And I'm mentioning that for the drums, but you know, you get that for everything, from vocals to the guitar. The end process, I think, really paid off for it. A song in its inception, when someone hums it, when someone plays on a guitar, completely different sound to you've made all the effort with it to make it mastered, to make it nice, to make it balanced. And I think those are two very, very different things. Obviously, I think I equally appreciate both, but obviously it's different. You can't capture the same feeling. It's what it is.
I think some of the lyrics in the song and the gentle start to the song, which then suddenly goes into this big chorus at the end. And when directing the film, it was quite a good challenge to work out what the actual shot should be, whether I should be orbiting around with the gimbal to show the detail of Loic's anchor. By doing that, it's created a good image of the song. I thought it was a lot smaller than what I saw on like Wikipedia and the images that you sent to me. I think it brings quite a good connection to, you know, pacing around the bridge like we did in the first shot.
Bring that together.
Yeah, it sort of links very well to
The song.
how the song is.
Yeah, and
works.
obviously I am 6'4", so it's a
And
big
it's
bridge.
It's quite big. Oh, there's quite a few. Loic running around with the tripod. Me losing my road fluffy thing. Trying to get the drone up on Nisha Bridge as well. That was annoying.
Losing when you lost the screwdriver.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, losing the screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that was.
By now the BTS video will be out. So
Actually, where's the screwdriver? Oh, it's here. I lost it momentarily, but this is the holy grail. I hope they take the same thing away from the videos I do, which is knowing that not all things can be bad, and although things can be bad, you know, if you express it, then it's fine. You just get on with your day and hope for a better, brighter future. It probably adds quite a lot of emotion, because I think without the music video you can't see what Loic's going through.
I think you get a lot of context behind what each verse actually means. I think that's something that you see a lot with music videos.
You know, verse 3, you know, it's not as bad, but then the big chorus comes on, or the little chorus at the bit comes on, and then it suddenly gets very, and then you suddenly just like change it completely.
It definitely adds a whole new level of context and emotion, I'd say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it does.
I really think for me, this song says a lot about my personal experiences recently. I think there's some bits which are, you know, things people can take away. I think the main thing to take away from Faded Polaroid as a message of the song is that, you know, we're all here for some sort of purpose, you know. We maybe not a divine sort of purpose, but we have to, you know, make something of our lives. Otherwise, what's the point? However long you spend writing the song and recording it doesn't really matter. It's about the quality of the recording, you know. If you spend 4 weeks but come out with something awful, it doesn't matter because no one's going to listen to it. But for me, I can record this in 2 days and it's come out really well and it sounds really good because as long as the music is good, the rest of it will turn out okay. I think that's my hope, at least. I don't know if that's what will happen. Something it's also taught me is that I don't need to sit down and plan every single step of the production. I think it's something that it's not very important to sit there and devise every single little bit of production and think, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? What matters is why it's produced and why it's done like that. And you don't need to think about that immediately. You can think about that like 4 weeks later, you know, 2 months for me, you know. Faded Polaroid's out now, so go listen to it. If you haven't heard it, you know, go watch the video. Thanks to Oliver, thanks to Sastra for talking in this documentary style thing. We've achieved something really great. So I'm really impressed with everything that we, as a small team, this song's been produced and released by 3 people. So pretty good, hey? So yeah, I'd like to thank Oliver. I'd like to thank Sastra. I'd like to thank all the people who've listened to Faded Polaroid. We're 1 week in. Let's keep it going. You know, if you haven't heard the song, go stream it, go save it, put it on playlists, you know, go watch the YouTube video. The music video is really incredible. I've just seen the first draft when we were filming this and it looks insane. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.